Now you're actually starting to write real stuff. All right, back. All right, so you have a student, you have a staff, we have staff here, we have a school record. Let's close everything. Let's go back to where we were. We had school software. When I run a new instance of the school software and I just tell it to run, the first thing I'm going to do is just log in. Results. Maybe if I just do else, I'm just going to do false. If result, if it's anything, like if it's anything but false, right? Hello, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to just return, you are not authorized. I think this was the simplest way to go about it. So let's take a look at what's going on here. So if I do John with 1, 2, 3, it says, it doesn't say anything. It should say puts, you are not authorized, and return. You are not authorized, and then it kicks me out of the program. So the first thing I do is log in. Let's go back to the README and see what the second step is. What would you like to do? So let's list students, view grades. Do you want to just list all the students? Yeah. All right. So what would you like to do? And we'll just do this. So once you log in, I'm going to give options. Do at result.
You can change give options in main menu just to be.
All right. Main menu. All right, what would you like to do? I'm going to change all of this. Puts.
The quotes before.
Yeah, I messed up. There we go. What would you like to do? And then we have a few different options. So we'll just do number 1. List out all the students. I'm here, run it. I'm going to be Culpepper. My password is XX. It's like, welcome Culpepper, your access level is principals. What would you like to do? Options, number 1, list out all the students. At this point, I'm just going to do input equals gets.chomp. Then it's a giant if-else statement. If input is equal to 1, do something. Else if input is equal to 2, do something else, et cetera, and then end. So we're going to deal with just this first one here of do something. So I'm going to list out all the students. I'm just going to list all students. Create a new method called def list all students. Now, do you think now the question is, what do you think about listing all the students? So now we've gotten past the login, we're able to start to do things. When it comes to listing all the students, which class do you think that belongs in?
Administrator or staff?
Probably in the administrator or staff. It's also a job of the software to list all the students, so it could just be in here as well. It's up to you. What would you like?
Just in here.
Just in here? All right.
I mean, I don't know, just to keep it moving, but unless there's like a legitimate.
There's a legitimate reason for not putting it in here.
Okay.
Sorry. The way we did our program was we did it in the software one, but I was confused on how to do it into another one. So can we do it that way? Is that okay?
Yep. So it's kind of like all the students. That might be something that lives on the student class. So up to this point, I'm about to confuse everyone. And this is Aaron's favorite thing because he loves class methods. There are things that are available to instances of students. Like every person here is an instance of a Code Platoon student, right? So when you're a code platoon student, there are certain things you can do. Like you can, come into class, you can learn things and things of that nature. There are also things called class methods, which are available to all classes, like the entire class. I'm about to confuse everyone. I'm going to regret this, but print all students. This self dot. So there's two different things. Let's do print all students. There's two ways to call this. This one without the self dot is literally just student.new.print all students. The self one up here is student.print all students. These are two different methods for two different classes of things. This one is what you're used to. It's the instance of a particular student. This one is for on the class itself, you can print all the students. So each individual student should not be able to print all the students in the entire school, but the student class should be able to print out all the students.
So basically, you're saying that the one that would be utilized for those that have permission would be the one that basically you would be looking at. I would say the one you erase would be the one that would be, that would be utilized by all of those that have permission. Is that correct?
It's not far off. Think of it this way. Like you as an individual, you are a person. When you send a text message, right, you create a new text message that you can send to one or more people. When the people in Hawaii who threatened the ballistic missile by accident, they are the text message class. Like they're the ones that control each individual text message. They have the ability to send it to everyone. So that's the idea here. It's kind of like each individual student should not be able to print all the students, but the entire student class should be able to know who's inside of it. So for this one, print all students, I would do, how do you want to print it? First name, last name kind of thing? Okay. Okay, let's take a look at the students.csv. Split this into two. All right. So I know that I'm going to use a CSV in here, require CSV. And all I'm going to do is just do all students equals csv.read students.csv. I'm going to turn on those headers. All students. Student. I'm going to print. I'm just going to do puts. This is going to be rough. Okay. Student dot student ID. This is about to get really confusing. I'm sorry. Let's just go with the ID number, the student's name, and how old they are. Simple. Let's just do that. So let's see if this works. So I'm just going to do let's just do student.print all students, and I'll run this in the terminal.
Would that be a comma?
Yeah, I have, so this should read like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Zach, comma, 25 years old. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, Zach, 25 years old. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, Screech, 25 years old, etc., etc. Also, Slater does not age. That guy does not age at all.
No,
Doesn't.
beautiful.
What's that?
Beautiful man.
He's a very good-looking man. All right, so we've tested that this worked by running line 14 here. So now the question was, if school software relies on another class to do it, how do I call it inside of here? Pretty simple. I just do student.print all students. So let's see if this runs. So let's run the school software. I'm going to be Culpepper. My password is XX. I'm going to choose one. No. It says uninitialized constant school software student. It's broken here. I don't have the student class in the require relative. If it works now. Culpepper. X1. Listing out everything. Now, the reason I chose to like not put all the code inside of here, I could. It's not an issue. I can just copy and paste this in here. Again, it's single responsibility stuff. If one class controls everything, that's a one single point of failure. It's very hard to figure out. And our class is already 76 lines long. If I continue to add all the stuff inside of here, it's getting far too big. Your class sizes are going to be a maximum of 600 lines long, with most good classes being at most 100 lines long. So we're already kind of like pushing the boundaries of like how far we want to go. And then it's kind of like, whose responsibility is it to list all the students? And can we pass this responsibility on to anybody else? So it's like, again, you go up to the laundromat, you say, I want to give you my clothes to wash. You don't care what happens afterwards. But imagine if it was kind of like, if they told you, okay, I'm going to do this, you know, and they listed all the different steps and all the people who are going to be responsible for it. You don't care. You just want to see that it works. So it's like even if they're like, oh, we're booked, we're swamped for today. I know there's a dry cleaner down the street. We'll give them a little bit of money to clean the shirt as part of, and we'll pay them. Like they could contract it out to somebody else. You don't care. So again, the idea is single responsibility things and have classes like take care of specific things. All right. So let's see. It says list out all the students. Let's take
You have to do that for the staff as well, right?
I can do that for the staff as well. So I'll do 1, list out all the students, and then 2, I'll do list out all the staff. And this one's pretty simple. List out all the staff. At this point, I can just uncomment this. Then I will list all staff. I know what it's going to look like. Staff.print all staff. I think it's just literally just copying and pasting this whole thing here. We could require the CSV up here. Get rid of this. Copied too far. All staff. All staff. Staff. And let's take a look what the staff.csv looks like. Maybe I'll do, instead of do staff employee ID. Something years old. And I will also put staff of 4. So if all goes well.
You also need a require relative on your software.
Okay. Oh, that's a good call. I'm calling a different class in here. It doesn't exist.
Require relative or just required?
Wallpaper. Thanks. I'm going to list out all the staff members, and it goes into another class. It reads all of the things there. Culpepper, 25 years old, principal. Dewey's 25, also a janitor. Dickerson's, and so on and so forth. So I hope this is like slightly useful in the sense that we started off with just 3 classes. We threw all the things that the requirements were asking for directly in here, and then we recognized that school and staff were so similar that we might as well create a school record right here that since it's so similar, we might as well just make it as similar as possible. So when I create a new student and new staff, which is probably our next thing here, what's happening is when I create it, I'm actually inheriting the initialize method directly from school record rather than putting in staff. I had a school software class here on the right, and I have very, very small methods, as close as like the smallest thing I can. Because obviously, yeah, I don't have to have a separate login or main menu. I can just throw this all in run because this technically is all just run. But I don't want to I don't want to dirty this up too much. You can kind of see like when I run, I'm logging in. Okay, log in. Now I'm in one specific frame of mind. I can just read this login and see what's going on. And I have small methods called check credentials, and then I can do things based off of those credentials. And then I type in main menu. Based on that, I can enter 2 different areas. So let's create a final 2 methods, and then we'll take lunch. We'll just do 3. Input a new student. Actually, let's just do 1 for now. Input a new student because they're so similar, staff and student. The writing is so similar anyway. So input a new student.
And this is you're gonna write it to the CSV?
I am.
All right. Last.
Create new student, sure. So let's just say we're going to create something called a new method called create new student.
I don't want to, but you know, we do have a functionality to be like password changes, like that, making changes to.
Mm-hmm.
So can we do one where we input a student, but then we also remove the student?
We could
switch some information on that student. I know it's going to be like complicated problem.
That's complicated. That's like probably like number 5 or 6 down here.
Okay.
So let's get through this one, and probably won't have enough time, but probably won't have enough time.
Okay.
So we want to create a new student. So again, where does this code go? Ask that question. Where does it belong in school software, or can another class take care of it?
We can make a new class for new student add or something.
Yeah, we can add a student. So we can just do student. Can we just do create new student or something like that? Not sure I like this too much. I'm getting into def self.create new student. Now I can just do a bunch of gets.chomps, it seems like. Puts, what does each student have? Yeah. Oh, God, please enter name. I'm going to just do this a whole bunch of times. Sex, age, role, student ID number, and password. I'm going to put all of these things out to the screen, and then I'm going to get a whole bunch of stuff as well. Name student name equals gets.chomp, and so on and so forth. From there, I think I can just, actually, let's just do student hash equals empty hash. I can just do, gosh.
You're a magician with the keys.
It's just practice.
You really deserve that expensive keyboard. on your webcam.
Thank you. Student.new.
Patient's killing me. Let's see them right. Let's see if you're right.
Okay. Just try here. Just see if we can create a new student. So again, just to review what I just did, when you hit 3, I'm gonna hit create a new student, which comes over here. I create an empty hash. I'm gonna put a bunch of stuff for you to get. I'm gonna grab a bunch of the information from you. I'm just gonna create a student, just the object, and then we'll write to the CSV. So let's see if this works. Pepper XX. I'm going to input a new student. John, male, 30. Sure. Oops. Whatever. 1, 2, 3. Password XX. Let's take a look at student. Dang it. Really annoyed right now. Let's see what did we mess up? Let's take a look at what student hash is. Okay, that's fine. I'm wondering why when I do student.new with student hash, I get all this nils in there.
It could be the gets.chump method.
Could be the gets.chump method. Let's take a look at, since we're inheriting from school record. Oh. Sorry, let's try it one more time. All right, so we're able to save it in there. The name goes away though. It's because I called it something different here. It's not student name, it's just name. Okay, so we know that that works. And how do I write to the CSV? So,
CSV.
okay. Let's jump back to the curriculum because I'm not 100% positive. I believe we did this on Tuesday. Yes. So I'm going to write to it. So it's csv.open with the file name. And I'm going to go with, starts at the end of the file. I'm going to do A+. Cool. Let's see what we got here. csv.open of students.csv with an A+ to file. Oh God. File. Let's see what order it's in. Student.name. Is it student.name? Let's take a look at school record. Yes, it is name. Student.name, student.sex, student.age, student.role, student.student ID, and student.password. I think this will do it. We'll find out. It'll be a good place for us to pause. Sex. A new student. I'm John. I'm male. I am 30. I am a student. My ID number is 5544332211. Password is XX. Undefined method student ID for student. Let's take a look. Every single student has an ID number. Okay, my mistake. Try one more time. Pepper, XX, John, male, 30, student, 123123, XX. Yeah, let's see if it shows up. John, male, 30, student, 123123, and XX. So obviously this challenge, there's one challenge a day for a reason. It's so open-ended. You can do so many different things with it. What I'm going to do is I'll finish the same thing here for staff, and then I'll push it up so you can kind of take a look at it. But I hope this was helpful in some way where it's like, Like, where does the method go? Like, what classes can take care of what? You know, like, how do I make these methods smaller, and so on and so forth. We learned a little bit about class methods today. Again, that's stuff that, like, you as a consumer, when you create a new text message, you're a consumer of the text message, and you send it to 1 or 2 people. The people who can send it to everyone for like the Amber Alerts and stuff like that, they can send it to all different people. So it's just like different permissions and like, yeah, different permissions. You don't want every single student instance to be able to print all the students, but you want the student class that controls all the students to be able to print all the students. All right.
So if you were to want to give different permissions to different credentials, could you just basically have within that class methods that that class would have, and then would that be a way of encapsulating that?
Sure. Yeah. So I don't know if people recognize this, but anyone who logs in can do all of this stuff right now. So like a student can actually log in and do all of this stuff, because I don't have any permissions to check like who's like what level of access, right? It's as simple as putting an if-else check inside of here that will allow you to do that kind of stuff. Or it's like main menu, if you're a student, if you're a student, print this menu. If you're an administrator, print this menu. If you're somebody else, print this menu. And at that point, like, you might want to separate into different classes, because we're getting into the huge territory for the school software. Does that answer your question at all?
I think so, but I'm still a little yeah.
Okay.
I think that does it. Well, it answers one question. I got a lot of
Sure.
other questions.
All right. Any other pressing questions for right now? All right.
John, you covered a lot of turf, and you did a really good job.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for the math.
Yeah. All right. Let's take lunch, and we'll be back in the afternoon. We have one challenge for today. It's pairing optional day. I mean, no, it's pairing day today. I'm sorry. Today you can do all the big O problems if you want to. Everything you haven't finished yet, and there's one called budget. So honestly, like budget, schools, and all this type, and bowling and everything like that, they all build on the same concepts. So if you want to ignore one of them to go back, and now since you have momentum on schools, you want to finish that and like do it really well, I'm okay with that as well. So it's between you and your partner. It's going to be remotes with in-person. Unless there are not enough remotes, then in which case we can just pair up with someone you haven't paired up with yet.
You said you're gonna push that to.
Yeah, I'll do my best to finish as much of this as possible, and then change a few things up, and then push it up to GitHub.
And we recorded it.
All right.